Hello. The last video I did was nearly half a year ago. I just checked it. It's 5 months ago. And I was talking about, what was it, DMC 1 and DMC 3, I think, on DMD mode. And half a year later, I've done DMC 5's DMD mode, or like all the other games on on Dante Must Die. And, well, worth it? Sort of. I only did it because I wanted to get better at the games, because I sucked at the games, and I was like, okay, I want to get better at them because they're my favorite games of all time. So I played that, and I definitely did get better at them. It made me, I'm a lot better at the games now. However, I was on the verge of insanity throughout, throughout that whole time. Yeah, it is actually torture. But basically, I'm just going to talk about the games individually. They're Dante Must Die mode. I'm not going to make it half an hour long as well, like the last one. I can really talk for ages. I didn't even realize when I was filming that video. I was like, okay, it's probably like 10 minutes long, and I looked at the actual time, half an hour long. Half an hour long I spent talking. So I don't want to take as much time on that. So I'm gonna try and be quick with it. Basically, I'll just get straight to it. The first DMC on Dante Must Die mode. It's difficult, very difficult. One of the main things, the two things, so normal enemies, you can weigh them in easily. It's not that hard at all. It's like, it's been ages since I played this. I think with Ifrit, you have Ifrit, and you do that move where you jump, and then you smash the ground, and just do that over and over again. I think the grenade launcher as well, and that kills most enemies. So normal enemies are no problem on DMD mode on that game, except from those scissors, those death scissors, those things. They're really annoying because they just zap about everywhere, and you've got to try and helm breaker them, so they're annoying. But I don't think anything else is that annoying. Shadows, maybe, they're annoying. What else? Not too sure. Can't really remember anything being too annoying. Those, the metal Marionettes, I can't remember what they're called. I think they're called Fetish. I think that's what they're called. They're easily done and all. You just stinger, grenade launcher, stinger, and you just do that to them all, and it easily does them. So normal enemies, no problem in that game. It's the boss battles. That's the real challenge in that game. Most of the time you're gonna die to, it's gonna be camera angles or just like the difficulty of them overall. Especially Griffin 3, the final Griffin boss battle. Oh my god, the camera angle in that it's not good. That's like 90% of the times you die is going to be because of the camera angle. And there's no checkpoints in the mission as well. So if you don't want to use your gold orb, you got to redo that whole mission to get back to that point just to die in 1 second. Like, it's pain. Nightmare 3 is really hard as well, and not because of, like, the actual fight itself is hard, but then that final phase is, without using any items, is really tough. And I played through all the DMD modes without any gold orbs or any items or anything, so I just wanted to get through it all in pure skill. I did reload checkpoints though, because that's having to redo that whole mission after dying on things like that's just dead. But yes, the hardest boss battles in that game is definitely Nightmare 3, Griffin 3, Nilo Angelo 3 and 2 as well, and definitely Mundus. Mundus is really difficult. If you're not using items, it's so difficult. I was tempted to use an untouchable on that final nightmare phase so bad. Like, it's hard. But yeah, so DMC 1 on DMD is very difficult. Very difficult. Then there's DMC 2. I never did that one, really, because I didn't do that one with Dante Must Die because it's such a bad game. There's a couple good things in that game. There's a couple good ideas, but it's not fun, really. I mean, Dante looks cool, and he is kind of cool because he's like all like, oh, I hate everything, I want to kill myself, all that. But I mean, just look at the stinger animation in DMC 2. It's just the most it just doesn't even look cool at all. He just goes like, ugh. In one, he's like, ugh, three, ugh. Two, just he's like, ugh. Like, this is the deadest stinger ever. So yeah, I didn't even really bother with 2 on DMD mode. I haven't even beaten it on hard mode. I just beat it on normal. But Devil May Cry 3 on Dante Must Die mode with Dante is probably one of the hardest things I've ever done in a video game. It's difficult. It is so tough. You die to everything. Like, every enemy encounter, you're gonna die at least once. Like, there's like most enemies are gonna kill you anyway, but there's some really like proper piss take enemies, like the Fallen, which are, you have to learn the timing of the Royal Guard, but once you've learned that, it's not too hard. It's just like actual learning it. There's that one room, I can't remember what mission it is, where you got 2 spiders and a one big spider, and you got to kill them, and after that 2 more spiders and 1 more big spider spawn. So that's tough. Like DMC3 and the Enigmas as well. The Enigmas, those things are not a threat on lower difficulties, but on Dante Must Die, they will like, 2-shot you. It's crazy. DMC3 is probably like, it's so hard that it forces you to learn Royal Guard. You like, if you're so bad with Royal Guard, play DMD mode, and by the end of it, you'll be a god with Royal Guard of that game. It forces you to learn the timings of it, especially on like ones like Beowulf. Like, you have to rely on Royal Guard in that fight. Beowulf, some other enemies as well. Like, for example, the Fallen. Oh, the Soul Eaters as well. Those Soul Eaters are really annoying as well. That one room with the Soul Eaters and the what is it called? The Grim Reaper thing. I can't remember. I used to know all the names of these enemies, but it's just because I ain't played it in so long, it's escaped. The big, you know, you got the 7 sin demons. The bigger version of that, who's the boss in the second mission of the game. He's the boss in the second mission, but then he becomes a regular enemy. That thing with the Soul Eaters is horrendous. But yeah, Devil May Cry 3 on Dante Must Die mode with Dante is probably the hardest thing I've ever done in a video game. It's really difficult. Virgil 3 would take... Every boss battle is going to take you about an hour to do. Except from Gigapede and Agni and Rudra. They're not too bad. And every enemy you're going to die to at least once. At least twice you're going to die to every enemy. You know, like in DMC 1, it was... You die a lot of times to boss battles, but the normal enemies were really easy. In DMC 3, everything is going to kill you. With Virgil, it's a little bit easier. It's a tiny bit easier with Virgil, because you can remap buttons on the controller to spam summon swords as you're doing combos, so you do more damage. So it's a bit easier with Virgil on DMD, but at the same time, it's also a bit harder as well, because certain bosses like Geryon are a lot harder to do with Virgil. So they're harder in certain ways and easier in certain ways, both of the characters' runs. I'm in the DMC5 gallery, by the way, as well, just while I'm talking, because that's all I'm doing right now is talking. So I just thought, just have this in the background of it. But yeah, so DMC3 with Dante is one of the hardest things I've done, and with Virgil it's a tiny bit easier, but a tiny bit harder as well. So both have their difficult points and their easier points. But DMC4 with Nero and Dante on Dante Must Die mode. With Nero, it's not too bad. It's quite okay with Nero because he's a lot more simpler to use than Dante. There's just the Red Queen, which you charge it every time you max act every time you do an attack. The Blue Rose, which you just hold down the charge. You remap the button, the shoot button, from square to L1, so you can hold it constantly and do the charge shots. Like that's a necessity for Nero. And he's also got the arm as well, and he can stay in the air for a bit longer than Dante. At least it depends on your skill level anyway. So with Nero, because he's simpler to use, it's a bit easier. Like it's not... With Nero, you'll die quite a few times, obviously. It's Dante Must Die mode, but it's certainly easier than 3 in the first one. Right, with Nero it's not too hard. And then when you get to Dante's section, depends on your skill with him. I am trash with Dante in 4. My DMC 3 Dante is fine. DMC 5 Dante is also fine, I'd say. But DMC 4 Dante, I'm really bad. He's quite, not really bad, but not good. Like he's hard to play in 4. So Dante's points, you will struggle quite a bit, but nowhere near as hard as DMC 3. So the Nero and Dante playthrough is tough, definitely, but not the hardest thing. And then there's the Virgil DMD playthrough, which is a lot easier. It's a lot easier than with Nero and Dante, especially on certain enemies. Like there's that one bit in, I can't remember what mission it is, but when you're in the forest, you're backtracking through the forest, and those things come out of the ground, and if they catch you, they drop you in this underground bit, and then you have to fight enemies that are constantly doing that spike thing, so it's going to knock you back all the time. With Dante, that's hell, that part, but with Virgil, you can just stay in the air and spam just judgment cuts, so it makes it easier. It's certainly easier with Virgil, and also you can do that charged level 3. Is his uppercut called Rising Dragon? I don't know what his uppercut's called. I can't remember. I forgot what it's called, but you can do that, and it evaporates. Oh yeah, Devil Trigger and all. I can't remember what that term's called as well, because I ain't played these games in a little while. I can't remember what it's called. But basically, when you press Devil Trigger right as you're about to do the uppercut, and it does huge damage. You could do the same thing with Dante as well. There's a name for it. I'm not sure. I can't remember what it's called. But you can do it with Dante as well. But with Virgil, but it does great damage with both. But yeah, I'm looking up what it's called, because it's something. Devil Trigger. I'm just gonna write. What is it called? There's a name for it. There is a name for it. Real Impact. Yeah, because that's Dante's one. And you do the Devil Trigger. I can't remember. What is it called? Real Impact. I can't remember what it's called. I'll remember it hours after this and be like, oh, that's what it called. But anyway, let's move on from that, because I don't know how long this is taking, so I'm going to try and be quicker. So with Virgil, yeah, it's not the most difficult thing ever, but you're still going to die. It's Dante Must Die mode. And then with Lady and Trish's playthrough, with Lady, I'd say it's even easier than with Virgil with Lady. Like, she's so overpowered in that game. Like, it's so easy. You just charge shotguns, and when the boss is far away or doing something like that, you just charge the Kalina Ann. The pistols can be sort of useful as well if you want. But yeah, it's really easy with Lady. It's not that difficult at all. And then with Trish, it's quite difficult as well. But it's not like the hardest thing ever. But it is difficult. It's Dante Must Die. I don't know who's harder to use, Trish or Dante. But Dante's more complex. But I don't know if he probably does way better damage than Trish. So I think they're probably just as... Yeah, I'm not sure. But that playthrough's not as bad because of Lady's parts. Like Trish's parts, it feels like Dante Must Die mode. But with Lady's parts, it feels like really easy. So, yeah. DMC4, Nero Dante, not the hardest thing, but is still quite difficult. With Virgil, it's easier than that. And with Lady and Trish, it's the same as Nero and Dante, really. So, yeah, Devil May Cry 5 now. With Nero, Dante, and V, Nero's parts I find really easy for me. Except from... Well, even the boss battles weren't too hard. I think I died once to every Nero boss battle. I didn't die much at all with Nero. There were some boss battles I did without even dying, like Goliath. I didn't even die in that one. Artemis, I didn't die. I don't think I died on Malthus. Like, DMC5 is, with Nero is really easy. I've gotten really good at Nero in 5. You can spend a lot of time in the air with him. He's the same as in DMC4, but more air moves, and he's got better moves. Obviously, he's got the Devil Breakers. It's I find it really easy with Nero because I've gotten really good with him. With V is fun to use on easier difficulties, but on Dante Must Die mode, his missions are horrendous. Every time you're on a V mission, you finish a Nero mission or a Dante mission, you're like, cool, and then the next mission it's V, you're like, oh god, why? Because the pets are constantly getting stalemated. They're constantly dying, and then you've got to run over to them and then try and like make them heal faster. But then there's geezers charging at you, so V can be invincible. You do that if you do that dodge with him, the lock on, and then there's X dodge. You can be practically invincible with that. But if Shadow dies, you're fucked. if Griffin dies, then it's over. If both of them die, like it's over. So V's parts are not fun at all in that game. They're the hardest parts. And then Dante's, it depends on your skill. Dante, I'm not bad with Dante in that game. I'm actually quite decent with Dante in DMC5. He's quite tough, but I don't think he's as tough to learn in this one as he is in 4. Which is weird considering he has only 3 weapons in 4 and 3 guns. And in this he has, 4 guns, 4 weapons? So he should be more difficult, but he's not in my opinion. So, yeah, I got better at Real Guard as well. A tip for Real Guard, actually. If you jump and block, you're more likely to get a perfect guard than if you were just standing still and blocked. I don't know why. That's true for DMC3, and I think it's true for this one as well. I didn't use Royal Guard in DMC4 at all, for some reason. I just couldn't. It wouldn't work for me. Like, I couldn't do it. But DMC3 and DMC5, I use it quite a bit, especially the King Cerberus boss fight in this game as well. The Royal Guard works really well with that fight. So, Dante, it just depends on your skill level, really. But it's not too hard. With Dante, you'll probably die to the boss battles quite a few times. But, again, it just depends on your skill with him. And then there's the Virgil playthrough, which is, it's just not difficult at all, really. You'll die once to a couple boss battles and that's it, because Virgil is so whenever you always see them memes of Virgil being the most overpowered character in a video game, and it's not exaggerated. He really is overpowered in the game. He just annihilates everything. It's so easy with Virgil, even on Dante Must Die mode. I think the Dante boss battle in DMC5 as Virgil is... I died once on Mission 19's Dante fight, and then Mission 20's Dante fight with Virgil, I did that first go. So even that's not too difficult, because you can just stay in the air and spam Just Judgment Cuts if you want. Just watch out for the Real Guard, because he will obliterate you with that. But yeah... The Mission 19 Virgil boss battle as Dante, though, is very difficult. Not as difficult as Virgil 3 and DMC3, but still very tough. It took me a good hour or 2 to learn that fight. It's a really fun one, though, as well, so you don't rage on that boss fight, because it's so fun to fight Virgil. Yeah. So I think I've said about them all. Yeah, I've said about all of them. So I'll do a quick ranking in terms of difficulty. I think the easiest one is probably this one, DMC5. A lot of people say that DMC4 is the easiest one on DMD mode, and I disagree, because there are certain points of it, obviously, because there's 3 playthroughs as well, but there are certain points of it which are... I feel like it's more difficult than 5. On 5, I really didn't die much at all. At least compared to the other games, I didn't die much. 5 is probably the easiest in my opinion. Obviously Virgil's playthrough is the 100% easiest. He only died a couple times. And the Nero Dante V playthrough isn't that bad either. I'm really good with Nero, so it weren't bad with him. V is obviously the toughest part because he's just so useless in that mode. And then there's Dante's parts, which depends on your skill with him. But if you're decent with him, then you'll do fine. So yeah, this game is not. It's definitely the easiest of them all. I did play the reboot as well. Actually, I did play DMC Devil May Cry. That really stupid name. It's literally Devil May Cry, Devil May Cry. But anyway, I did play the reboot, but I didn't beat it on Dante Must Die because I don't enjoy the game enough to do that. But I did give it the respect it deserves and played it on Nephilim though, because it's not a bad game. It's just the story's a bit cringe. The story's a bit cringe, but it's not a bad game at all. Yeah, so 5 is the easiest one, definitely. And then after that is probably... So there's 4 that I've played. So yeah, 4 so in terms of... Oh, what am I doing? Easiest to hardest. Easiest is 5. And then comes 4, in my opinion. Because Nero is... Nero is not too hard to play with. Lady makes the game very easy. Virgil makes the game easy and all. But Dante and Trish are kind of... That's where you'll struggle. They're the hardest parts of it. So because of that, I think it's harder than 5. I think, yeah, 5 is just... You know why I think 5 is so much easier than the rest of these, in my opinion? Because it's a newer game. It was made in 2019. DMC4 was made in 2008. Games were a lot harder back then, in my opinion. I feel like games have gotten a lot easier now. Yeah, games were harder back then because it was less obvious what to do. It didn't help you as much, and obviously we got like YouTube now can help us with so much. And back in 2008 you had YouTube, but still, like, you get what I mean. So it's, yeah, I think that's why, because the games were a lot harder back then. But this is a newer game, so it's not as tough. But it can still be challenging, though. DMC5 is still challenging, especially Furies. Furies piss me off a lot. Furies are dead enemies. I hate Furies. I don't like Hell Judekas as well. Hell Judekas and Furies are the worst. Hell Antinoras are quite annoying as well. Because if you just knock them down once, then they go into that rage mode where nothing staggers them and they're hunting you down. It's annoying. But other than that, the enemies aren't too bad. Oh, and that, what's it called, a Lusacia, something like that? The big electric thing. It just constantly teleports away from you. And there's a behemoth, but that's just a tank. You don't really do too much unless you knock his armor off. And then in that case, if you don't kill him quickly after his armor's off, he kind of runs around the place, or he digs down, and it'd be quite annoying, but it's not too bad. So yeah, easiest to hardest, 5. And then 4, the Blitz is not that hard in 4, by the way. You just have to learn how to beat it. It's only difficult with Trish, because she doesn't have, like, great ways to deal with it. But with Dante, it's easy. You got another strategy. And same with Nero, Virgil, and Lady as well. You just know the strategy. But with Trish, even with the strategy, it's still tough with her. But yeah, so 5, 4, and then the first game. The first game is very difficult. It's second hardest in the series, and yeah, the main things that are going to get you are boss fights and trash camera angles. And then obviously the hardest one in the series is 3, definitely. 3 Dante playthrough. 3's Dante playthrough is difficult. You're going to die all the time. Nearly every enemy encounter, you're dying. It's tough. It's a really, really tough one. Some rooms will have you in there for an hour. Like that room with the spiders, I was in for an hour. There was this one room as well, it had some of the 7 sins in them, and also the big one, the big Grim Reaper one, he was in it and all. Like that is a tough room. Obviously the infamous chess room in mission 18, I think it is. Obviously that one, you have to Royal Guard that. So that's tough. So yeah, 3 is definitely the toughest one. So yeah, the easiest to hardest, 5, 4, 1, and 3. 3 is the toughest, without a doubt. Toughest thing I've probably done in all video games. And I've beaten Neo as well. I've played Neo, and that game is extremely tough, but I think DMC3 on Dante Must Die mode, I'd rather play Neo again than play that game on Dante Must Die mode again. So yeah, will I ever play these games on DMD mode again? Fuck no. Fuck no. No, never. Not for my sanity, and for people who live with me sanity as well. I will never play these games on DMD mode again. I think Devil Hunter is the perfect difficulty, in my opinion. It's the perfect difficulty, because on human mode, it's too easy to kill them on human mode, so you can't really style. But they have just enough health on Devil Hunter, and they're not too annoying on Devil Hunter. Son of Sparda's good as well, but they can be quite annoying on that. So Devil Hunter really is like the best difficulty, in my opinion. I'm not even going to attempt Hell in Hell mode. I'm not even going to attempt it, because I may do in the future, but for now, definitely not. Definitely not. That mode, I mean, Son of Sparda, and if you take one hit, that's it, it's over. Like, that just sounds literally like hell and hell, so sod that. But yeah, that's it. Just talking about the DMC difficulties. Do I recommend you play it on these difficulties? This depends, really. If you can keep your cool, if you don't get like angry easily, these sorts of things, you don't. Yeah, if you don't get angered by video games, then yeah, you'll definitely get better at the games. Like, I've gotten a lot better at these games now. I know a lot more than I did a year ago before I did it all. So like, I've gotten a lot better at these games. So I'm happy about that. But if video games can make you quite angry, then I definitely don't do it. Don't do it. Son of Sparda mode, maybe. You do Son of Sparda mode, but Dante Must Die as a whole, like, their difficulty is infamously known for being really, really tough. So yeah, it's sort of. I guess I do recommend it if you can keep your cool. If not, no. Son of Sparda. Stick with Son of Sparda, or maybe Legendary Dark Knight. I don't know. Either one. Yeah, that's it pretty much. I'm definitely going to play these games on the channel at some point. I want to start making more videos, but the problem is, I don't know what game to play first. I don't know what game I should play. I'm thinking maybe the Arkham games. What was that? Here's what I'm thinking of playing. The Arkham games, or Devil May Cry games, or the Yakuza series, or Yakuza, however the heck you say that word. I've seen a lot of people pronounce it differently. Yakuza, like Yakuza, like however you say it. I prefer to say Yakuza. But yeah, I'm thinking of playing that series. Either one of those three, really. DMC, Batman Arkham, or Yakuza. Because I played Arkham Asylum and City on the channel before, but that was back in like 2017. So I just do it again, I think. But yeah, I'm gonna come back, but I'm just stuck on. I don't know what to play at the moment on the channel. I don't know what I'm gonna play on the channel. I'll think about it though, and then I'm definitely gonna upload again at some point and play those games. I want to play my favorite games and put them on the channel. Because I do like to come back and watch videos every now and then. Like my rage videos on Crash Bandicoot from back in 2017 is so funny. So funny. But yeah, that's it. I meant for this video to be like 10 minutes maybe. It's probably been half an hour again. I apologize for that. I talk for ages. But yeah, I'm going to wrap this up now, otherwise I'm going to be here forever. So, alright, yeah, cool. See you later. Bye. See? It was nearly half an hour. Doc's sake.